Hey y'all, I'm back with another Cephalid Breakfast Legacy video, and I'm starting off the video today with some exciting news, which is that yesterday, Saturday morning, I played the Legacy Challenge, and as you can see on the screen, I won first place in that challenge, and the deck felt great. I played this 4 Tamiyo list, and I'll say just a little bit about this, and then I'll do a league with this same list. So this list is what I've been thinking lately as far as what feels really good for Tamiyo. Otherwise, a pretty traditional breakfast list. 3 Swords to Plowshares in the main. I feel like between those 2 cards, Tamiyo and Swords to Plowshares, if you wanted to have 4 swords, 3 Tamiyo, you could. If you wanted to have 2 Tamiyo, 4 swords, and an ending, just more main deck removal, you could. But I just really like the 4 Tamiyo. I like the posturing of starting with Tamiyo on turn 1 and the effect that that has on the entire game. Now, in the challenge yesterday, I had a few takeaways. First of all, I played in 9 total rounds, including the top 8 all the way to the finals. And I played 4 rounds against Tamiyo Reanimator. So, if you want to do well at big events, you really had better come prepared to beat Tamiyo Reanimator because it's everywhere. I think especially on Magic Online because it really is just the best deck. It's pretty clear and people are running it. Otherwise, I played a lot of blue decks. The only non-blue decks that I played was I played 1 Karnforge deck and I played a green-white depth deck. And those matchups both felt pretty easy. I got a little lucky in the Karnforge one, especially in game 3. I top decked a Nadu right as my Saga was popping, and I only had 3 lands, so I wasn't about to lose or anything, but I was about to lose my ability to cast Nadu. So that worked out super well. I definitely had a lot of lucky moments in the challenge. There was a point where I top decked at Days in my top 8 match, game 3, and Days didn't animate dead to advance to the semifinals. Obviously you can't win a lot of matches without things going your way. Things were consistently going my way yesterday. But what I'll say about this deck is that I think between the Tamiyos and the Nadus and the whole breakfast plan, you almost always have something to do. Sometimes you have your combo rolled up and then you get Thoughtseize and you lose Cephalid Illusionist or something like that. And then you don't have anything to do for a long time. And so I like how the removal and that interaction is replaced with more proactive things to do. And the proactive things are actually what buy you time because your opponent has to deal with those things. If you don't deal with a Tamiyo, you're going to get run over with card advantage and its own win condition. I'll say one other play. This was the very first match of the challenge. I was playing against Demir Tempo, and the final game of that, I honestly forget if it was game 2, game 3, but the match-winning game, basically. I had a Tamiyo, and I flipped it turn 2, and my opponent was pressuring me with Nethergoyf, and I had Memory's Journey in hand. Well, I was able to cast Memory's Journey to get the Nethergoyf power down to 1, only lands in the graveyard, and that bought me a couple turns to plus the Tamiyo. And then on a final attack, I had the flashback of Memory's Journey to get it back down to 1 power and then 0 from the Tamiyo plus. And I probably had the swords or force, a Murktide along the way or some other threat. But I thought that was a really cool line to get to Tamiyo's ultimate and win the game. And it just goes to show that's just another dimension that's pretty accessible in a 4 Tamiyo list is simply backing up Tamiyo. You don't find Nadu, you don't find Cephalid Illusionist. Well, Nomads in core can jump block to protect Tamiyo. So there's lots of things to like about this list. I'm going to be running the exact 75 that you see here in this league, and let's see how it goes. Hopefully I can have a successful experience running this list back. I'm on the draw in round 1, and I have a nice hand. I really hope that I don't get wastelanded out of the game, but this is acceptable. Island Ponder Keep. Now, if you can't tell from my voice, and I've probably sniffled a couple times, I'm definitely feeling sick today. So, bear with me. Hopefully, I'm not too sniffly in the video. Alright, my opponent starts with a scrubland. So my first guess is that it's probably Death and Taxes. Interesting decision here about which land to start with, because I have the Brainstorm. I hate to crack a fetch land before I Brainstorm. However, I do like my hand quite a lot, so if next turn I don't feel the need to cast Brainstorm, maybe I just don't. I draw through the Ponder and have patience. So I will start on the basic island, but it is an interesting decision. Really, I'm just looking for a land, a green source specifically, so that I can do my combo. There we go. Okay, so I'm happy to draw the days, but I will do it like that. Draw a Windswept Teeth, and that way, if my opponent does Thoughtseize me, they won't know that they have to play around 2 dazes in the future. I highly doubt if they Thoughtseize me, though, that they would take days. Voice of Victory. Yeah, okay, so this is probably like an energy deck. Interesting decision. I think I'm fine to just plow this. If I plow it, the worst thing that could happen is they Johnny around days on a future turn. I don't know how much longer days will be live. I don't really want to be set back on lands, but that might just be how it goes. Windswept might have to get Savannah and plow something. It does make Savannah fetch really awkward if I daze, because I don't want to draw that Narc Amoeba, so I want to be casting or playing this land. And Savannah would be ideal in case I have to plow something, but it also can't daze. I could get a Trop. That would probably also be just fine. Yeah, I'm going to daze this. It does feel like a setback pretty substantially as I'm trying to work my way up to Nadu. But I just want to keep their threats off the board. And Voice of Victory is a pretty good card in addition to it's... Yeah, okay, so there's the Ajani played around days, and now I still have the swords. So I'm very thankful that I've taken this line. It does mean I'll probably have to fetch Savannah, and I'm going to do that now before it's cast, because I don't want them to be able to, like, kill anything in response to my fetch. So I'll play Savannah. They'll get their Ajani. I still feel like perhaps I'm not supposed to end step swords. I don't know if this deck plays Bolt, but I think I'm going to go to my turn and play Tundra and then Swords, so that if they do have like a Bolt or something that could flip the Ajani, I can daze that. Alternatively, I could just go Nomads and say beat this, but you know, a Wasteland beats that. So I'm going to Swords Ajani. See what they say about that. Nothing, okay. I'll play Nomads. Hope to dodge a Wasteland. Sure, okay. Well, I have another one. No, I didn't want to daze that. That felt like a no-brainer. The awkward thing about dazing that is I still don't get to put Nadu on the stack the next turn. Amp Director, yeah, that's good. They don't have a whole lot of energy, though, so they're not going to get anything spectacular with this. And, okay, cool. This card. Yeah, I think I saw this deck just won the challenge quite recently, like this morning. Okay, now this Ajani, I feel like I just can't let them have a Johnny at all. And Days somewhat sets me back here, but it doesn't actually set back my combo because next turn I would cast Nadu, um, but I wouldn't be able to immediately have the Nomads in play too. So this doesn't feel so bad here. And now they just have one card. Sword's pretty nice. I'll play the Tundra out. I'll play out Nomads. And by leaving Tundra untapped, I can Swords, I can Brainstorm, and it also, for what it's worth, makes this slightly more desirable to Wasteland. In case they wanted to cut me off of a Swords. It doesn't look like that's happening here. But I want them to Wasteland Tundra rather than Savannah if they're going to Wasteland one of these lands. I will not be blocking. And I will be hoping that their last card is not Swords to Plowshares or like Orcish Bowmasters, but that Shuko's a nice pickup. And yeah, I like my position here. Let's try to Nadu. They are fetching. Solitude, perhaps? Surveilling here is interesting. Okay, and then they let it resolve, so I have to imagine I'm going to win the game here, but let's see. Okay, well, I'll have to settle for that. Okay, they scoop. I think that's fair. You know, even if you know you're going to lose, it does get you a little bit more information. Maybe they didn't know I was on breakfast. They could have thought I was on like Bant Nadu with Teferi and Delighted Halfling and stuff like that. And there was nothing I played so far that would make you for sure confident. I don't know if that deck plays Days, but it could play Days, right? That's pretty feasible. So even though it's pretty depressing being on the other end of a Nadu Nomads combo, you at least get a lot of information out of it. So I like that they held tight there just a little bit before scooping. So against this deck, it should be a Wasteland deck, so I like the extra land. The removal, obviously great. Flusterstorm's a maybe, but I'm thinking probably not. And I like Pithing Needle. It's really hard to beat at Goblin Bombardment, but it could also hit a Johnny, it could hit Wasteland or Broadside Bombardiers. So it's a pretty good match for Needle. I think this is a Tamiyo trim or cut situation. I think that they're too aggressive for Tamiyo to be very good. And I'll trim 1 days. I'll leave 1 days in though, because I feel like this is the sort of deck that could get got by a days pretty hard. So this seems like a fair plan. Honestly, this is a matchup that I always feel kind of weird about because these decks have evolved so much since Modern Horizons 3. There's a lot of different varieties of blue. Now there's these warp cards. So the fact that there's not like a super strong stock list and the fact that there's not really a lot of people who play this deck, I think it's underplayed relative to the power level. All these factors make me less confident in my plan against it. And I think I need to do some, proper testing with this matchup to finalize my thoughts and plan for it. Because every time I feel like I'm just, improvising with a sideboard plan, which is not really where you want to be. So anyway, let's see how the next game goes. All right, on the draw, this is a definite keep. I don't know if this deck is a Thoughtseize deck, but this should be pretty good against something like that. The ending will probably come in clutch in some way, and hopefully the Saga doesn't get wastelanded, so I'll keep. Ocelot Pride, yeah, that's probably worth fetching a Tundra and ending right away. That can get out of hand. Alternatively, I could just go Nomads, Cephalid and try to just win. I could Ponder. I think I'm just going to Ponder. I'll fetch a basic and Ponder. And fetching the basic doesn't feel that bad here because that Cavern could name Core if I need to get Nomads on the stack. They're unlikely to be able to counter Cephalid. I just think the ending might find a better target, and the consequence of leaving Ocelot Pride around for a turn is just them getting one more 1/1, and I should be able to erase that pretty effectively. So I'll go basic Island Ponder. I can't prismatic ending this and they get wastelanded off of my colored mana. That's gonna feel too bad. Sure, another Ponder. The Shuko's nice. Next turn I could go Core, Cavernon Core, Shuko, and Nomads. Seems pretty good. I'll put the Illusionist on bottom. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm a bit trapped now into going for the quick combo because I didn't like I thought that was an acceptable keep, but it didn't have any lands. So this prismatic ending isn't really gonna do anything. Raptor, sure. Oh boy. See what they name. Shoot, they did Nadu. And thankfully I have a third Cephalid coming soon. So I absolutely think they should Cabal Therapy post-combat. Probably just, letting the Raptor die would be my guess. Don't think they can afford to give me a turn. Yeah, so they're going to name Cephalid. And the Cabal Therapy does end up getting 2 cards, so pretty good. Yep. Alright, so this turn, I'll play the Cavern. I'll name Core. And I'll play out my 2 combo pieces. And hopefully they don't do anything too crazy this turn. Hopefully they go like a Johnny plus Wasteland Me or something like that. Voice of Victory, sure. And Static Prison, sure. On my Nomads. That's totally fine. Well, let's see if this was good enough. I have a sense it will be. They seem to be F6. And they scoop it up. Awesome. So, wow. I needed all 3 Cephalid Illusionists to get to this point. Cabal Therapy is a heck of a card. And I'm thankful they didn't hit in the blind on the first go-around. That can be pretty tough. And especially against a breakfast deck where, like, there's so many things early game that you have to be worried about. So there's so many acceptable names. Like, was Nady Nadu correct? I don't know. Was it perfectly fine? Because Nadu is a very dangerous card, definitely. And I just happened to have the other thing. So I got a little lucky there in a 50-50 scenario. I suppose they also could have named like Force of Will or Swords to Plowshares or something like that. But good and thankful about that. And on to the next one. I'm on the draw with a very awkward hand, but one I will certainly keep. Hopefully I draw another land. Maybe I can cast that Ponder turn 1. And eventually I'm gonna have to find a way to get rid of this Dread Return. But yeah, I'm not putting back a hand like this that has functional mana, combo pieces, interaction. Urza's Tower makes me think I don't need to be too worried about Wasteland. So I'll play the Hedge Maze. Would love to see a Brainstorm. Force Will, yes, definitely. Maybe I can Daze a One Ring next turn or something like that. Yep. Bit of a shame because I was going to curve out nicely. Like I could have gone Cephalid next turn and then Shuko the following turn with Memory's Journey up. But now I'm drawing that Force, so that's going to feel pretty good. And another land seems good. Next turn will probably be Ponder plus Shuko. Ah, blue mana. Another One Ring. No, I won't let you have the One Ring. Pitch Cephalid. Shame to pitch the Cephalid in case I need another one. But I probably won't, because I doubt this deck plays removal, and I'll be able to cast it uncounterably. Brainstorm would be, I think, the best card to see. They're waiting on this. I don't know if they play Daves. Oh, Thassa's Oracle. That is interesting. So, that would mean... Well, yeah, I think that's fine, because next turn, right, I can play Cephalid. They could even just scoop to that, right? But then the following turn, I can cast Oracle, and I don't have to worry about the fact that Dread returns in hand. Yeah. Interesting though, like, I don't know if they would counter Shuko. If they counter Shuko and then I'm stuck with Oracle in hand, that would be pretty rough. I think I'll keep this hand, keep these cards, but I'll draw the Saga and play the Saga. That way, if Shuko doesn't resolve, it still feels okay. I don't feel great about this game, just because I know my opponent has a lot of bombs. Hopefully they don't have a third One Ring. I've already spent a lot of resources countering One Rings. But I don't know what they have. I don't know these lists well enough. These blue post lists. And a Karn would really suck. Though if it is Karn, I'd be thankful that I laid the Saga down. Making constructs would pressure the Karn nicely. Oh boy. They have... Well, if they don't have something like an ensnaring bridge pretty soon, they're going to be in trouble. Ooh, they have coding. Oh, rough. Honestly, this is probably the game. Because they're going to be able to coding probably the blue, yeah. So now I can't make constructs. So I think I have to play the Flooded Strand and Surveil, hope to hit Nomads, and then maybe I have a chance. Yeah, this is really rough. They've just put 3 must counter things on the stack. And I was able to answer 2 of them. The only scenario in which I liked not countering a One Ring is in the event that Offspring Thundertrap Trainer. Is in the event that I can win the next turn. Because if I can only draw 1 card off of it, then it feels fine. Okay, they have a Force. Okay, this is, I think, a mistake to minus the Karn here. They could get like Tormod's Crypt or something like that. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not really going to be able to pressure the Karn with these bodies standing in the way. But they just gave me an unnecessary amount of time. Now I think I am supposed to make the construct, though, rather than Surveil. So I'll get a Tundra and make a construct. Because if they're going to just... Oh, yeah, do that in response. That's really good. Yeah. Okay. And Enforce a Will, not good. Really has to be Nomads here, and then they have to not counter it. Shame I didn't see that Liquid Metal Coating Light I should have fetched earlier. But I also figured they were going to use this preemptively. I guess they decided they couldn't because I could make a construct. Yeah, that was an interesting situation. Not one I think I've been in before. Okay, well, there's Nomads. So I need to float a mana, get a Shuko. Alright, well, this is one of my favorite tricks with the deck is Sandbagging Cavern. Just play Nomads. And play Cephalid. Now, the awkward thing about this is they could Liquid Metal Coating the Cavern. But if they do that, I might be able to get Narcomoebas and kill the Karn. I don't know if that's really good, but... Okay, Expedition Map, that's good. No clue what that's going to get. Urza's Tower, well, they have a zillion mana. Okay. Coding my green source. Yeah. That's good. I guess they're thinking they have Tormod's Crypt. And so... Now I can't play around Graveyard Hate. Ugin, okay. Hitting my Cephalid. That's really nice because now I know that I can just mill out in response. I don't have to worry about a future target. Their hand is Force, Lorien revealed, and an unknown card. And Cephalid will be gone. Oops. So I don't have to worry about like the rest of my library getting milled. So keeping that Oracle in hand actually turned out to be a game-winning decision. But they also, they had the ability to win, and they just made wrong decisions. I think their decisions were acceptable, but ultimately wrong. And that's how Magic works sometimes. All right, so I get 1 more mill here. Go ahead and do that. and then I'll yield to all these abilities. They probably have figured out what's going on at this point, and they're tapped out, so I don't think there's any, targeting of illusionists they could have right now that would make me mill my deck out. So if they have like a 0-mana spell that's colorless, like a Lotus Petal, they can kill one more of these things, but they're all irrelevant now. So this feels good. I think I'm going to sneak away with this game. So my opponent decided to, they're just exiling my graveyard, that's fine. They decided to play around Graveyard Hate, or rather Memory's Journey versus like Oracle being in hand. Oh no. Oh, that's the last card. That's pretty good. Let's see if they name Thas as Oracle. Yeah, they got me. Wow. GG. Oh, I just thought I was gonna get that game, and then they had the Oracle. Or they had the Flute. Pretty sweet. Flute is a sweet card. I like how flexible it is. Alright, well, if there was a matchup for Serenity, this feels like it. Well, yeah, they play Force of Will, so Cavern of Souls. So this is a weird matchup. It's like kind of like Karnforge, but not. Tamiyos feel a little weak. Swords. I'll cut the planes. So it's basically the same board that I'm bringing in. I do wonder if Flusterstorm could be good. I'll maybe exchange it for a Daze, like, on the draw. If I'm lucky enough to have a third game. Oh, I need Needle in the deck. Oops. So that was a mistake. I definitely wanted Pithing Needle. Can't keep this hand. I am going to keep this hand. I don't want to mull 5. But I will have to draw the blue card. Or a blue land. And this is a situation where, like, I could keep mulling, right? I could mull for, like, a perfect hand, but this is one quite important piece away from being a very good hand. So I'll put away one Brainstorm. The Brainstorms won't matter if I draw a blue source, because the blue source is what I would be brainstorming for. Of course, you can't brainstorm without a blue source, so I have everything I need in hand. This is definitely a start with Savannah, and I'll probably just play out Nomads. Cloudpost tapped. Blue source. Hey, always had it right. Alright, so I'm going to put Cephalid on the stack. They might force it. They might not. I don't think I'll go for it, though. Okay. Force pitch stock up. That's a good exchange, knowing I can just play Nadu next turn. And the fact that they started with Cloudpost makes me think they're unlikely to be able to put a must-counter thing on the stack next turn. Because even if they have Planar Nexus, that's just 3 mana. And decks like this, it's really at 4 mana where the must-counter things start to happen. Now, I don't like how they're leaving all this mana up here. I think I'm supposed to go for it. But, yeah, Flute seemed pretty likely there. Thankfully, a Shuko will be coming soon. I have good pressure. Unfortunately, I've tapped out, so yes, they get to do the one raid. I don't have Pithing Needle in my deck. Bit of a disaster. Alright. See what we got here. Alright, well, I can Brainstorm at least and know I'll still be able to make Construct. Yikes. That is terrible. Okay, well, I still think making a Construct is better than, the Dread Return will get shuffled away. Yeah, I'll just do it like that. So next turn, unless they can Needle Shuko, put a card into play, something like that. Remove one of these things. It'd actually be pretty brutal if they're able to kill Nadu this turn, because then I would draw that Dread Return. Well, no, I wouldn't, because it's Meticulous Archives, so I would get to surveil it away at least. But yeah, definitely not looking great here. Having seen those terrible cards I drew off the brainstorm, though, it's comforting to know that this One Ring would have resolved, even if I had gone for the brainstorm line instead of um, playing into the flute card. Yeah, yeah. Probably getting Needle if I had to guess, or another flute. Bridge, okay. Well, you have a lot of cards in hand, so I don't know about that line. So I'll make the construct. I'll get a Shuko. I'll kill the Karn. And then just draw my deck. Draw a bunch of cards. Yeah, and Starry Bridge was interesting there. I wonder if they, like, minused without looking at their sideboard, and then they didn't have Pithing Needle. Maybe it's in the deck or something like that, and then Bridge just felt like the best thing to get. Because, oh, I didn't even attack with this construct. They should be at 18. I don't need Ponder. I'm just looking for the kill at this point. Serenity, that's pretty sweet. All right, there's Cephalid. And I still have a land drop to make, so I will start with Narcomoeba. Actually, instead of that, I should just play Nomads. It's better with mana. Oh, except it costs more. I always forget that part of Disruptor Flute. Of course, that's how I lost the game last game, so it should have been fresh in my mind. So I'll play Narcomoeba, draw more cards. Still haven't seen a Force. There we go. Play Uncounterable Cephalid. Now, do I go for it here? Memory's Journey is in hand, which is awkward. I have Force for, like, if they have a Force, but I also have a Force and a backup Nadu. Like, I think the worst thing that could happen next turn is an Ugin that exiles Illusionist or Nadu. I don't know. This feels like a pretty weird place to play onto Graveyard Hate. I'll just pass. I'll discard Nomads in core. They're gonna have more cards in hand than me. Not often you can say that after someone goes off with Nadu. Thundertrap Trainer with Offspring. Am I supposed to force this? So they're gonna have one Offspring. So they just get 2 cards out of this. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card. I don't think so. I'm gonna let it happen. Because they already have 7 cards in hand. They're just gonna have to go to cleanup. Lorien revealed. And Ozilek's command. But they're tapped out. So I feel like I can pretty much draw my deck here. Here's another game where Serenity is really awkward. This is the card I'm like the most on the fence about in the list. Obviously, when it's good, it's great, but like there's so many times like I don't want to blow up my Shuko and my constructs, right? So just looking for Thassa's Oracle here, really. Brainstorm is nice. Fortification, also nice. I think I will just go for it here, though. Because I can beat some amount of Graveyard Hate with Memory's Journey. Like if they have Fairy Macabre. But I think the chances are pretty likely that I get all of it with this guy. Yeah, I skipped over that. I think my chances are pretty likely of getting to Thassa's Oracle here. You'll notice I'm waiting to do the Illusionist last because of the milling ability. Because I want the Oracle in hand. Okay, so now I might just start off by going to combat. How about I make a guy tapping like that. This will allow me to push damage a little better. Still no Thassa's Oracle, 15 cards left in the deck. I'll re-equip the Nadu and go to combat with all of these. Probably in a position where they want to chump block. Yep. They take 5. I have no idea if the deck plays Fairy Macabre. I'm going to start fetching some lands, see what's in my deck, thin my deck a bit. Trop is the only fetchable land left. I will play out, I believe I have a Narcomoeba in hand still. I'll play that out. And I have a land drop to make, so let's play Meticulous Archive. I don't want another fetch land that has nothing that it can get. I'll play Narcomoeba. Consign. Alright, I'm going to equip this Illusionist now. Now I'll have to get lucky to not have to win through the graveyard. Prismatic Ending is cool. Probably not necessary. Okay. I'm going to activate this, draw my card. It's Dread Return, and then in response to this, I'm going to brainstorm. 50% chance of Oracle being in there, and it's not. So I'll put back these two cards. Okay. So I have two cards in library. One of them is Thassa's Oracle. One of them is another random card. I think I'm just supposed to ponder and draw the Oracle. And then if they have Fairy Macabre, it's totally fine. So I'll ponder. Feels awkward to ponder with two cards in the library. It feels wrong. I will not shuffle. And I will cast from hand Thassa's Oracle, playing around Graveyard Hate. And it enters. And sure, I'll keep the Flood Strand on top and win. Alright, on the draw, I do like the Flusterstorm for Days swap. And I think I like Pithing Needle over the other Days. Days gets outclassed pretty quickly, especially on the draw. Though I will say that against decks like this that have so many must-counter things, I typically don't like taking cards out of my deck that read counter target spell in any capacity. But I think I'll be presenting a pretty nice deck here, so yeah, I'll give it a try. I will say another option would be to remove one Shuko. Sometimes I do that against Karnforge decks, depending on my exact list. Sam looks perfect. Hopefully it gets me there. They're mauling, I will keep. And if you remember the start of game 2, I kept that hand that wasn't perfect, right? It didn't have the blue source, so I got pretty lucky. But I would rather let myself get a little lucky, require myself to get a little lucky, but still have a hand that's pretty threatening. I'm totally fine losing games like that. Where the one, the one piece that I did have a plentiful amount of in my deck just never came out. All right, Narcomoeba surveilled into play. The value. Another nice thing about this play is you just know you're not drawing a Narcomoeba. That's probably more valuable than the actual 1/1, but now if their line is like a Karn or something, it's compromised a bit. Thunder Trap. Yeah, I'll let them have the Thunder Trap. That's fine. Gives me a bit of information to play with and stock up. Awkward. I think this is gonna be alright, another Force is nice. Hedge Maze, Surveil, and then cast Ponder. Oracle. Alright, I'm gonna put Oracle into the graveyard for once this match. And I'm going to cast this Ponder. Looking for, 3 lands. Is Urza Saga worth drawing an extra land? I think it's not. Cephalid. Okay, well. Oh, missed my attack. Man, I've missed 2 attacks this match, so I need to lock in. Not playing well. One Ring. Force Pitch Cephalid. Force Pitch Lorien, so I know they still have a stock up in hand. Force Pitch Ponder. Yep. And they did not miss their attack. Good. I am down on the clock. Should be enough clock, but Well, ending will be nice in the face of a flute. Sad that they get to stock up here. They're a little flooded, though. Another one ring. Dang. I'm gonna fetch. Oh, I don't even have a surveil land. What am I doing? Yeah, I just have to force this. I think they're very favored right now. I'll just hold the land. Yeah, stock up really good. Well, now I regret not having that Urza Saga. Especially because, yeah, I think that was a mistake. Because imagine if I was making constructs right now and pressuring and then working my way up towards like a Shuko or a Needle. That would be a lot better than the position I'm currently in. And now they're all rolled up. Like, I'm sure in the top 5 cards they had another bomb, a Karn or Ring or something, Ugin. Ugh. I'm just flooding out. Karn. Yeah. Lattice next turn. Brutal. I think I'm at the fetch to thin phase of the game. Okay. Well, maybe I have the most vague hope here. This is most forced. And GG. Tough one. This is a cool deck. These blue Cloudpost Garnforge decks. Alright, I'm on the draw for the third match. No lander, definitely going back. Thankfully my opponent is also mulliganing. This hand is fine. Probably just put back, they're going to 5. I'll put the swords back. Nice to have that information. Man, that first hand with no lands in double force, like if this is oops, might regret that. I think in the blind you definitely can't ever keep a no lander though. Saga, could be Storm, Opal. It all looks like Storm. I don't know, could be Painter. Could be like a could be, what do you call it? Like 8 cast. I think fetching a non-basic is pretty safe, but I also have a lot of lands, so I think I won't be too put out by fetching a basic in case they have Bowmaster. Okay. Alright, this has to be a Storm deck. Yeah, those are good. So I'll put the Tamiyo on the bottom, followed by Nomads, and I'll draw Swords. Looks like I can win turn 3. Swords will help me not die to like a Echo of Eons line. They only have 1 card left in hand though. So I'm not too worried about the Bowmaster. But the reason I wanted to draw the Swords is, let's say this Swords was a Nomads in core and they have a Thoughtseize. Well, it's very obvious what to take. So, but then the real dilemma here is, now next turn, I have to expose myself again to a Thoughtseize for this Nomads. But I think I have to, excuse me, I think I have to do this because I'll get completely wrecked by an Echo. And then if you put on top of that, let's say I play out Nomads right now and they Echo, well, then they just definitely can, you know, Bowmaster me. But I do think I should ponder. I'll, crack this for Savannah and I'll ponder. Yes, there we go. I probably have to force a Thoughtseize, but that'll depend a lot. I mean, I'm sure the Saga is going to get a Lion's Eye Diamond. I probably shouldn't force a Thoughtseize. Chrome Lux. Will it imprint something? I hope it does. Are you going to crack this LED? Alright. There's the Echo. I'll just force it, pitch Nadu, and win next turn. And I could Swords. Suppose it's correct to Swords. I win, right? There's no need to concern myself with any other play. So any old land will do here. I'll get Tundra. There's the Nomads. There's the Cephalid. And I'll know my deck. Alright, they just scoop it up. Alright, so against the Storm deck, all the blue cards are good. These removal bits are traps. I like Macabre. And so those are the 8 cards I like. I don't like Swords. I don't like Tamiyo. And Plains is also an acceptable cut. So all the counter spells are in. Graveyard Hate to stop Gaia's Will lines. And then I'll do my own thing while they work through all of this extra stuff. Alright, this hand is good. They're on them all. I'll keep. Storm matchup, I think, is pretty favorable for breakfast. Especially a list that runs 7 total forces. And if you have trouble beating these decks, the key is to just find the spell that you need to counter. Obviously, they cast a lot of spells. And my rule for that is basically any sort of tutor. Cabal Therapy. Yeah, I bet they didn't force a will. Yep. Well, if they have LED and Echo, then game on. Alright, they pass. Kind of brutal to Chrome Mox away and Entomb when you have so few cards. So I'll get Tundra, cast Ponder, looking for lands, forces. There we go. I'll put the land on bottom and draw Force of Negation. Force of Negation will be harder for them to therapy if they have another one. Crit. Yeah. I think they're about to get stuffed here. Beseech. Storm 2. So I'm going to let this resolve. I'll feel bad if that's like a Galvanic Relay or something. Yeah, Song of Creation. And then I'll just force this. Pitch, probably Memory's Journey is fine with the Macabre in hand. That should be the game. Then I'll draw the Force. And I don't know, maybe just pass here. Because I don't necessarily want to brainstorm any of these cards away, so I'll just pass. I can afford to be patient when they're on so few resources. Now, the reason I let that Beseech resolve is I assumed they were going to get Song of Creation knowing I had Graveyard Hate. So better to get that spell countered. And on top of that, they could have done another Beseech after that and lost another permanent. Okay, I guess I will put back the land and the Narc Amoeba. Fetch a Hedge Maze here. I have Force of Will plus Days plus Macabre. They're not getting through any of this stuff, or they're not getting through all of it. I would have to really brick for a very long time while they Thoughtseize me. Dread Return into the graveyard. Another Cephalid. I'll cast one Cephalid. This will make Echo of Eons much better for me. They're passing. They're starting to have a good number of cards in their hands, so there could be another turn of interest soon. And I think I don't play out another Cephalid because right now I have Force plus blue card, Force plus blue card plus Days. Opal. Battle. Alright, they're doing something. Okay, just play no mana. Archive. I'll go to combat. Sadly, probably would force a Bowmaster. Saga seems good. I'll keep that on top. I think I'll have the time to work my way through an Urza Saga with all the counter spells in hand. And I have enough lands already that it's not going to be a weird tension between the days and the Urza Saga, so that feels like a good saga. I wonder why they played these cards out. Seems like that would have been very helpful for a future Storm count if they weren't ready to go. They might have some sort of interaction that they want to play around days with. It's a guess. but they know that their hand is safe, that I'm not going to like Thoughtseize or anything like that. All right, they have a Saga, but I'm ahead. Of course, their constructs will be enormous compared to mine. And I don't have the Journey anymore. I pitched that. So that means that it'll be awkward with Graveyard Hate if they have it. Oh, clip through combat. Again, what is that, third time this league? I got something here. It's ad nauseum. Fell to Profane. Okay, so that's what they wanted to play around Daze. I'll let the trigger resolve. I don't know. Maybe this is fine. Yeah, it's fine. I have more. If they happen to have something weird like Surgical, because they know I at least have one more in hand from turn 1 when they Cabal Therapy me, still fine. Oh, they have a Therapy. Man, this is awkward. I think I have to force a negation. Day's not looking too good anymore, so I'll go force of negation. Pitch Days. I could hardcast Force of Negation, but that takes me off a construct, and that body could be important for Dread Return. And then if they make a construct, I have to Fairy Macabre in response. I would love to draw Thassa's Oracle. That would be, I think, the best top deck. Another Saga. Well, I don't want to give them an LED next turn. It's possible they do have Graveyard Hate, but I think that's unlikely. Yeah, they make their construct. And I'll play this out. Try to win the game. There's Thassa's Oracle. Alright, they just scoop it up. Cool. Yeah, sometimes these decks have Fairy Macabre, but they're starting to turn the corner. Like, I did give them enough time that they were able to rebuild their game plan after that initial force on the Beseech, or force on the Song of Creation. So once the Saga pops, it's game on for them. So this just felt like the window to make it happen. So GG. All right, I'm on the play in match 4. Yeah, I don't love this hand, but it's fine. I'll keep. Don't know if I'll be able to surveil with the Misty. I hate surveil lands in Days. It really just depends quite a lot. My opponent's mulling again. Had a lot of mulligans from the opponents this league, but also played against a lot of combo. So, Misty, go. Next turn, probably going to play Saga. Let's see what my opponent's up to. Bloodstained Mire. A very foreboding land drop. If I get Thoughtseized, I'll probably let that happen. Alright, so I'm gonna not fetch. I'm gonna play Saga. And then this turn, if I have to daze something, I'll hard cast it. Hopefully my opponent won't also have daze. Let's see. Thundering Falls. Okay. Tendrils. Another storm deck. Thundering Falls and a storm deck. Gamble. I think it's fair to just daze this, right? Because I assume they're gambling for either an LED or an Echo. Alternatively, they could be gambling for a land to play around Days or something like that. If they Echo me, it's fine. I already have the Saga in play. So I think hard cast Days is the line. If they do have LED Echo, I definitely don't want to put a land back in hand. That's counterproductive for sure. So hard cast Days. And if I do get a turn with these cards in hand, I'm definitely shoving Nadu next turn. Okay, they did have a land. Why not make the land drop first then? Were they maybe gambling for Urza Saga? Presumably to get an echo or an LED so they could echo in a few turns. That's super slow. Like a Thoughtseize here. They playing around another days with the Chromox. Chromox pitching Burning Wish is a heck of a insurance policy against days. If it's a Thoughtseize. Dark Rit. Yeah. Not looking too good here. Yep. And I think they need to get Song of Creation here, right? So they were probably gambling for like a Thoughtseize. Ooh, Sail into the West. I always have to read this card. Well, I'm gonna vote for Return. But I'm guessing that we are going to be discarding our hands and drawing 7 here, which will put Thassa's Oracle in the graveyard. So I will vote for Return. Let's see what happens. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Yes, my hand's not that good. Oh, that's not very good either. I guess their last card was Beseech the Mirror. Alright, thankful for that fetch land, because now I can Memory's Journey if they have like a, do I need to brainstorm? I feel like I still need to brainstorm. Next turn this is gonna pop, I'll get Shuko. So I'll brainstorm. Pretty bad. Swords probably especially bad. Nomads, probably not very important. But I think it's still just Narcomoeba, right? Because next turn if I get Shuko, the Narcomoeba will, yeah. So I'll just put those back. Play this out. I have Emergency Brainstorm. I have Memory's Journey. It could be worse. And there's 7 cards. Well, you know, they were tapped out, so it could be really good. They could have Dark Rituals. They just couldn't cast them. Defense Grid. Do I have to do something in response to this? I feel like Emergency Brainstorm is pretty bad. I feel like Memory's Journey targeting their payoffs could be good. I think I'll do that. I'll fetch a Trop. And yeah, this is pretty awkward. But I will Memory's Journey, target them, and I'll hit Beseech and Tendrils. And hopefully that's good enough. But they can still gamble. They just have a lot of good stuff in their yard. They still have Sail into the West. So I'll do what I can. Sadly, that grows the storm count. Hopefully that won't be super relevant. But I can do that, and then I can F6. Yeah. Well, they're doing something. This looks like a gamble, probably. They could also Veil, cantrip off of Veil. Spellbomb. Yeah, that's pretty good. Looks like I'm getting a turn here if I had to guess. Best draw is Nadu. But they're still going. Now, I already have the Journey in my yard now for casting it, so I can beat a Spellbomb. Though, it would involve getting them another turn. Seems like that Sail into the West didn't exactly pan out super well. That's my guess. Shuko. Okay, so doesn't really matter which of these I tap. Because I have Savannah. So I'll brainstorm now, off Trop. No Nadu. That's awkward. So they're gonna get another turn under the defense grid. Because even if I had a 3rd land to play out, I'm losing Urza Saga, right? So I think I keep the Narcomoeba this time though, as that could get me a blue card for force if it comes to that. I sort of don't think I'm losing the game next turn though. Like unless their mana was too tight after defense grid, which is feasible. All right, so my deck was just shuffled, so I can ponder. But I think I just want to, well, yeah, I'll ponder first because I might want to play a Nomads out. There's Nadu. So draw Brainstorm, keep Mardu on top. If they sail into the west or play a discard spell, I can play around that. If they echo me, it doesn't matter anyway. So, yeah, makes sense. And then I'll play Savannah. I'll play Nomads and pray I get a turn. But if I do get a turn, I should be good. I bet I hit the lands I need, or otherwise can just win once I have Nadu in play. Let's see what they do though. They're rolled up. If they have it, you know, they will win for sure. So it's like Burning Wish probably. Yep. If I had to guess, it's for Echo of Eons. Yep. Gamble for LED, presumably. Okay, well, if that's what they did, it's in their hand. Yep. All right, let's spin the wheel. Well, if they do have to pass this turn again, I'll feel all right. Okay. It's not great though, right? In the face of Nile Spellbomb, I could like, I'll just F6. So next turn, if I get a next turn, I have my opponent is not punished on the misplay. I don't know what that is, but I'll have to ask them. It's definitely up there. Just gonna get tendrils right now. Yep, you got me. I'll scoop to that. If I drew a land the next turn, I could have gone Cephalid, mill myself. Okay, my opponent says I should have exiled your Oracle and Journey before wheeling. That makes sense. I guess Oracle was in my graveyard. I don't even remember that. Oh yeah, it was because of Sailing to the West. Yeah. Because it was in my opening hand. All right, well, I'm going to have to pick up a couple on sideboard games here, and I'm going to do the same boarding that you saw in the last round. Tamiyo out. Swords out. Flames out. Here we go. Try again. All right, on the play. 2. Yeah, it's awkward, but I don't put backhands with Force of Negation. Daze. I'll probably play out Nomads turn 1. If they thought seize me, I'll probably daze it. I do think that the Storm decks that play Defense Grid are a better matchup for Cephalid Breakfast than the ones that don't. Chroma, sure. Print Burning Wish. LED, sure. Mox Opal. Dark Rituals. They're just going for it. Which makes sense. I'm threatening a turn 2. Ugh, Defense Grid. Guess I'm pitching Memory's Journey to counter this. And then if they have Echo, then that's how it goes. But I don't love my hand anyway, so Spellbomb is fine. Alright, sure. Yeah, that's good too. That's better than before. So this should be pretty good here. Spellbomb, obviously a bit awkward. But it should be alright. Chromox. Storm is 9. They could just have tendrils. Burning Wish. Imprint the Gaia's. So they can't just tendrils immediately. So I'll let this resolve. They played their land. So I can force it, like, the only reason not to force this, or the only reason to force this is if you're worried about a storm spell. But unless they have, like, spirit guides, like 2 spirit guides and then a galvanic relay, but that doesn't seem feasible. So I'll let this resolve and just counter whatever they get with it. I love how they tell you in Moto, my opponent chooses to use Burning Wish's ability. Echo of Eons. Alright, so they're just gonna dump their hand here and I'll counter it. Their hand's still pretty good. I bet they crack both these LEDs though. Okay, they only cracked 1. I guess I'll pitch the Daze. Daze doesn't look too good right now. So, probably Pondering next turn. Yeah, I'll go Hedge Maze. Land into the yard, cast Ponder. Yeah, okay. Well, they better have one heck of a top deck. Pretty much, I think, needs to be a wheel. Seems like they play plenty of those. But even like Song of Creation isn't amazing. A land. That's not it. Alright, and I'll fetch, clear the top of my library. Pretty sure it was a land. Honestly, I kind of forget right now. I'll get Basic Island because even though I'm not worried about Wasteland at all, I want the maximum color that I can hit off of the Nadu. So this should be the game here. But oftentimes when you have Nomads and Nadu, something that'll brick you is running out of the ability to cast your spells. So whenever I can afford it, I will, that should seal the deal there, right? Whenever I can afford it, I try to get a basic or like an awkward land to cast a spell, like Savannah to cast a Nomads when I could get a Tundra. Like maybe I'd rather have the Tundra, but I would also rather keep it in my deck still. Okay, so I'll play out Cephalid. Hopefully I don't mill over the Thassa's Oracle, but even if I do, I mean, I'm just too rolled up to lose this game. I respect them for playing it out, though. And now that they've seen what I have, they also can't afford to crack Nile Spellbomb. Presumably they can Surveil, so they have a little bit of a look at the top of their deck, but I mean, whatever they draw, I'm just going to force it. Alright, cracking your fetch land. They're doing something. Cracking Nile Spellbomb. I guess you have to, right? You have to try to win right now. I suppose if they got like a Veil Summer, just scooping it up. It's possible, like Veil Summer plus a wheel plus I brick entirely off of my flips. 2 cards could get there. Very unlikely. Just run it back game 3. Oh boy. What a hand. So I can win turn 2. I have Fairy Macabre to stop Gaia's Will. This is so risky, but I think it's a keep. If they echo me turn 2 after I've got Nomads down, I won't feel so bad. If they echo me turn 1, so be it. Would love to draw, I don't know, Days. Or Force would be good too. Just play the Tundra. Play Nomads. Alright, I have Macabre to get me through to the next turn. And then we'll see. Maybe we just tap out for Defense Grid here. Gamble. Looks like we're wheeling. This could be a Veil. That would be good. Oh, Bull. Veil. Yep. Alright, so I'll exile Burning Wish and Lion's Eye Diamond. This is a free play, because it's just going to win it back in my deck anyway. Oh. Oh no, that's so awkward. I can have 6. Usually I'm not too mad at a wheel, but this was a bad one. If I get another land off the top, it's okay. And if I get a turn, it won't feel bad. Like if Brainstorm hits a land and then Ponder hits like a Force or something. Plus I have Days and I can put back Dread Return. All of a sudden it's not horrendous. Alright, well, step 1 achieved. I am getting a turn. And I'll Brainstorm. Okay. Dread Return back in the deck. Just put back Hedge Maze, I guess. And then if I can Ponder into a Force, I'll just get, we get Trop. These cards are good enough. If next turn is like a Thoughtseize turn, these cards are good enough. So if they can beat a Daze next turn, they just win. If they can't beat a Daze, then I'm going to win. I also like that, like if I shuffled there, they're so much more likely to just go for it in a way that could win. Like now they have to be a little cautious. And I think those cards were better than shuffling and hoping to hit a Force. A 7 out of 48. They're gambling. And if we wheel again, we just wheel. And that's fine. Mox. So they're not imprinting. So I do think they probably have LED and Echo. They could go Dark Ritual into Besiege. And that also plays around days. I think they're likely to win here. They could get Song of Creation. All day is a Song of Creation. If it taps them out, another Besiege, another Besiege. And they're out of Besieges. Or, well, they're out of things they can bargain. So here's the payoff. Gaia's Will, sure. So I might be dazing the gamble. Because they can go Mox, Opal, Ritual. This is fine. Actually, I might end up dazing. It's probably going to be a Beseech, right? So they're going to go Mox. If they don't imprint stuff, if they do imprint stuff, then they're going to get it. Okay, no imprint. Not sure what cards are in their hand. But now they play the Opal. That's how they cast Dark Ritual. And then they have Besiege. Now, if they have Tendrils in hand, they got me. If they have Tendrils in hand, I just lose. I could Daze Dark Ritual. If they Veil in response and they get a mana source, doesn't matter. I think they have dead cards in hand, probably lands. I think it's so likely they just tap this and go Besiege. I'll lose to a Tendrils if they have Tendrils in hand. Yeah, here we go. This is a bargain. And I'll Daze it. Sweet. All right, GG. Yeah, I was going to win the next turn. I bet they did have lands in play. And, yeah, that was pretty risky there. Or it felt, scary, for sure. But I think dazing the Dark Ritual when they had Veil of Summer held up was going to be a bad call. Because let's say they spike another mana source, which this deck has plenty of. Anything like a Dark Ritual, any 0 mana, then they just continue like nothing happened. And so it would have had to be one very specific card that would have punished me had I chosen the line that I did choose. So that felt good. Felt like a premature scoop. They don't know what's in my hand, but anyway, I'll take it. All right, I'm on the draw for the last round. This hand's a keeper. Feel pretty safe at the beginning of the game with Force. Vault Ponder could be so many things, but two decks that come to mind first are some sort of Delver deck and Show and Tell. Probably doing Windswept Teeth Go here. Actually, now that I've drawn Ponder, I think it's Tundra Ponder. Yeah, those will do. Interesting decision. If I get Saga, that gets me closer to winning the game. If I get Tamiyo, that's a nice intermediary, and then Brainstorm is nice. Yeah, I'll plan on a Tamiyo game plan. Tamiyo hasn't really been shown off at all this league. Played a lot of combo. This looks like possibly a Corey. Yeah, all days. Definitely gonna have a fight over this. They days back on forcing. But even if they win this counter war, it gets a bunch of stuff out of their hand. And it, like, sweet. It would definitely mean they don't get a second spell, right? Also, that days means I get to comfortably draw all the cards off of that Ponder, which I think I wanted all of them. Okay, dazing Tamiyo. Sure. I do think it's typically incorrect when playing this 4 Tamiyo breakfast list to fight over Tamiyo. Tamiyo is sort of the bait. Maybe they have another quarry here. I think I just force it. Sweet. Might regret that. Alright, they know about Cephalid. That sucks. I'll brainstorm. Okay. Probably put back one Saga and Cephalid and just draw the Cephalid back, like go Savannah and play Nomads. Seems fine. And then next turn I'll probably play the Heath, shuffle away the other Urza Saga. Or just play out the Urza Saga. I don't know. Sure. Murktide here would be pretty good for them. Yep. It's a 6/6. I'll play out the Saga. Means I'm drawing a Saga next turn, but I also have the Brainstorm. I do like this matchup, but I'm not feeling very favored this game. It was maybe incorrect to go after the second cutter, but I find that I usually lose games where my opponent has a cutter. Alright, well, I know I have Cephalid. Let's go ahead and Brainstorm now. Nomads, okay. Nomads is decent. I think I'll put back these 2 cards. The Nomads means I only lose to Force of Will. And Dread Return, I could keep a Narc Amoeba that could chump the Murktide for a turn. I don't think I need a Construct, so I'll play Nomads out. And then Surveil off the Windswept Heath. Cracking the Heath does mean I'm dead next turn to Murktide. They could have 2 Lightning Bolts, that would kill me too. Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's pretty irrelevant at this stage of the game. Probably keep it Daze. Another land is not what I want. Swords. Yeah, that's decent. Float. Shuko. I'll Swords the Murktide. Buy me some time. Play the Cephalid. Cool. Could get them Delirium. But it won't immediately. They still need another card type, so I'll play Saga out. I'll leave Nomads untapped. But I probably will trade. I think my life total is so low that I just have to get their threats dealt with. Brainstorm. Yeah, that's good. Delirium means I'm dead to a bolt. Kept a card on top. That's honestly even scarier. Preordain. That'll get them Delirium. Just F6. One card to the top is probably Bolt, right? And are they bolting me? Yeah. Alright, GG. Okay. What was I gonna draw? Oh, what I look. Very close. Okay, so against Delver decks, I like to bring in the white removal cards. Flusterstorm, Cavern. I think since Quarry Steelcutter, it's no longer worth it to have Ghost Vacuum or other graveyard hate. I'll leave 1 force in the deck and cut the other counterspells. Well, yesterday my challenge win was against the Delver deck in the finals, and I did lose game 1. So hopefully this sideboard plan can deliver me a couple wins here. A 4-1 would be nice. A 3-2 though, if I lose, you know, that's okay. I will take the play. Yeah. I'll keep. It's kind of weak, but there's enough interaction. It's bad to Wasteland. It's good against Graveyard Hate. Really, I'm just worried about Wasteland. Because when you think about it, like, with the Oracle in hand, the Narc Amoeba in hand is just a pitch card to Force a Will. And that's not that bad. So I'm not going to fetch here. Oh, no. Well, that's not as bad as it could be with Oracle in hand, but now this hand doesn't look too good. So it goes sometimes with Breakfast. You can work as hard as you want to get good at the deck. Try to be a good player, and then you draw all the terrible cards, and that's just that. But there's bad top decks in every single deck. I just think Breakfast has particularly bad top decks. Like, you can have top decks that are game losing, like, in their own way. Not just situationally game losing, but like your whole game plan could be for nothing because you top deck a certain card. Alright, here I will surveil. Get meticulous. That land is fine. And I'll just say go. I don't think we can afford to get a hedge maze though. We'll see. We'll see how this turn shapes up. I think I'm gonna lose this game though, to be totally honest. And the reason I don't think I can get a hedge maze is I can't afford to get wastelanded off of white. Like if they play like on Murktide, played around days, and then which they don't have the cards in graveyard, but if they did something like that, put a clearly swordsable creature out, then maybe I could get a hedge maze if I didn't have any white cards in hand. But I have a lot of white cards in my deck I want to cast, so it is what it is. Another instant brainstorm. I do think they're trying to push towards a Murktide here, which I am prepared to blow that out. There's the wasteland. Cutter, I'll force this. They Pyroblast, I'm just such a bad spot. Cavern, that's good. Surgical on Force of Will, eh? Well, it's the only Force of Will I have in my deck. So, this card was basically thrown away. It's just turning into like a Urza's, what is it, Urza's Glasses, something like that. But even worse. I think I have to play out Oracle here, though. I need to start looking, digging for stuff. Brainstorm would be great. Nadu would be great. Tamiyo or Brainstorm. I think it's Brainstorm. That's Cutter. Yeah. I wonder if they have another Surgical. Seems pretty suspicious to, Surgical Force of Will. That seems irresponsible. They know about my Brainstorm now. And I'll block. Okay, no attacks. I think you definitely Pyroblast this Brainstorm. Sure, that's fine. Yep. Unfortunate. Channeler. Bolting the Oracle. Yep. Yeah, this is pretty good. I don't think I'm very favored here at all. And it's already getting to the stage of the game where I think, oh. Alright, sure. I'll just get a hedge maze. I was about to say, it's getting to the stage of the game where I really need to try to just hope everything goes according to plan. And I need to stop playing around things. I just have to put a win on the stack as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, I can't. None of these cards are good in the context of this game state. Okay. They have the days. I suppose there's still a game left to be played here, but this looks quite bad. I could top deck another Shuko, specifically Wasteland. Yeah, I'll see if I top deck the land, and if I don't top deck the land, I'll pack it up. Alright, yeah, GG, just got tempoed out here. I think this is a pretty favorable matchup, but obviously, I think the appeal of these tempo decks is you always have game. Like, they have very few atrocious matchups, and everything is like 60-40 at the worst, or 55-45, so yeah, I think game one I probably should have held on to those forces. I could have played game one differently. This game just, I don't know, maybe I could mold my opening hand. It's fine. GG. Alright, so wrapping up the league with a 3-2 is, you know, acceptable. I think if you want to play Magic Online, you should just be able to play for free. If you're consistently getting 3-2s, you are playing for free. Occasionally you'll need to get some 4-1s and 5-0s because that really pads your treasure chest that you can use to get tickets. But, you know, just get your 3-2s, play, you know, a little above 50%, you'll play for free. The list continues to feel good. And my one caveat is I just don't really know about Serenity. Serenity, like, it did come up in that artifact deck, the blue Cloudpost deck, and it was in my hand, and I could have blown up so much of their cards, but I had Urza Saga, I had Shuko. So, I don't know. It feels like the game states where Serenity is not a liability and is actively a blowout is very narrow. Now, if I was seeing a lot of like Blood Moons, stuff like that, it feels a little more necessary. Leyline is basically non-existent. I can't even tell you the last time I had someone put in a Leyline. And honestly, when people put in Leylines, they just think, well, I'll just Nadu, I'll just Tamiyo. So, especially this Tamiyo list, I don't know. Serenity feels like it cut. I think I'd rather have another prismatic ending. I could go up on another piece of graveyard hate. Though I'm pretty satisfied with the reanimator sideboard as it is. That's tough. It's a tough call. So I'm gonna think hard about what that slot could be. But otherwise the deck feels really strong. Yesterday served me very well. And it's just a lot of fun. You know, I think this is a super fun list. And yeah, I've just enjoyed playing it a ton. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.